Del Monte ranks among the pioneering titans in the food manufacturing sector, instantly recognizable for its extensive selection of packaged fruits and vegetables. The enterprise traces its roots back to the late 19th century, during an era when consumer-facing branding hardly existed. In those early days, grocery employees curated selections for shoppers, so manufacturers invested minimal effort into visual marketing strategies or identity recognition. Everything shifted in 1909 when Del Monte unveiled its distinctive emblem that would become an advertising cornerstone. For over a century, this iconic image remained a fixture in supermarket aisles worldwide, cementing its position as an exceptionally enduring commercial entity. Yet the recent narrative surrounding this venerable corporation presents a troubling picture. The organization has systematically closed manufacturing facilities, including 2 shutdowns in 2024 and an additional closure in 2025. Simultaneously, credit agencies have repeatedly diminished their ratings. In July 2025, the inevitable occurred. Del Monte filed for restructure and protection. The organization's leadership articulated their position, explaining that court-guided asset disposition represented the optimal approach to expedite organizational transformation and establish a more sustainable operational framework. The enterprise has allocated over $900 million to maintain ongoing operations while securing a potential acquirer. While the trajectory remains uncertain, optimistic projections suggest consumer availability will persist largely unchanged. Nonetheless, this represents a watershed moment for an organization that previously navigated 130-plus years of continuous operations without formal insolvency procedures. The 5 critical challenges. Challenge 1. The post-pandemic supply chain disruption. The global health crisis created a peculiar paradox for Del Monte. Initially, lockdown measures benefited the organization. As individuals remained homebound and curtailed shopping excursions, demand for shelf-stable provisions, particularly packaged goods, surged dramatically. Del Monte responded by expanding manufacturing operations to accommodate this growth. However, this decision became strategically problematic. When societal restrictions lifted and consumer appetite normalized, the organization maintained elevated manufacturing volumes. This miscalculation resulted in warehouse facilities overflowing with surplus merchandise that eventually sold at considerable markdown. For an organization already wrestling with profitability challenges, this compounded the financial strain considerably. Additionally, contemporary tariffs affecting metal commodities have introduced fresh headwinds for any company dependent on container production. Challenge 2. The premium positioning dilemma. Del Monte established itself from inception as an upscale selection. The nomenclature itself references an exclusive hospitality establishment in California's Monterey Peninsula. Historical promotional endeavors consistently emphasize product superiority and craftsmanship. This positioning isn't inherently problematic. The complication emerges because contemporary purchasers increasingly gravitate toward economical substitutes. Rival enterprises have captured market segments through aggressive advertising, attractive pricing structures, and merchandise perceived as interchangeable or occasionally superior. Private retailer alternatives, now ubiquitous across supermarket networks, undercut traditional brands substantially, particularly during macroeconomic contractions when discretionary spending tightens. The organization's leadership acknowledges this competitive intensity as a persistent headwind. Challenge 3. Fundamental shifts in consumer preferences. Following World War II, socio-cultural transformation drove canned goods consumption to unprecedented heights. This trajectory persisted until approximately the 1970s, when a reversal commenced. Despite pioneering initiatives like nutritional transparency, perceptions regarding process provisions, encompassing preservation techniques and chemical compounds, have become increasingly negative. Consequently, cumulative consumption of canned products has experienced sustained decline across 5 decades. Del Monte attempted diversifying beyond its traditional foundation. The organization operated Hawaiian Punch prior to transferring it to a multinational competitor in the 1990s. Manufacturing capabilities also extended to dessert products before divestment to another corporation in that same decade. Nevertheless, organizational identity remained inseparably connected to preserved vegetables and fruits. Challenge 4. Fragmented stewardship and constant transitions. Charting Del Monte's proprietorship history reveals staggering complexity. The endeavor originated as the Oakland preserving entity. Subsequently, consolidation efforts merged numerous canning operations into the California Fruit Canners Association. Further reorganization in 1916 established CalPOC. The Del Monte designation became synonymous with organizational identity through subsequent decades until formal nomenclature transformation occurred in 1967. Corporate acquisitions then accelerated. A tobacco conglomerate obtained ownership in 1979. A prominent private investment consortium acquired controlling interest in 1989 through what constituted record-setting financial engineering. Managerial acquisition followed in 1990. A proposed reunification with fresh produce divisions collapsed due to legal complications. Texas Pacific investors assumed control in 1997, positioning the asset as underdeveloped potential. The organization eventually accessed public capital markets in 1999. Unexpectedly, management pivoted dramatically in 2002, acquiring companion animal nutrition operations. Subsequent investments expanded this vertical substantially, generating exceptional profitability until this division transferred to competitors. By 2013, fresh and packaged segments had completely separated, with international ownership structures governing each independently. This constantly shifting proprietorship meant persistent leadership transitions and abandoned strategic initiatives. Organizational consistency suffered dramatically. Few individuals invested genuine dedication into cultivating the enterprise's future, instead treating it as transitory components within expansive conglomerate portfolios. Strategic coherence, fractured repeatedly before implementation, could bear results. Challenge 5. The perpetual debt burden. This final challenge interconnects intimately with ownership instability. Virtually every significant acquisition involved leverage arrangements, financial instruments amplifying borrowing obligations. The most momentous transactions generated considerable debt accumulation. A particularly significant transaction in 1989 established transaction benchmarks, demanding subsequent portfolio rationalization to manage obligations. Management acquisitions in 1990 financed approximately 80% of valuation through borrowed capital, necessitating asset liquidations, including iconic brands. More recent transactions in 2010 and 2013 similarly involved substantial borrowing components. Presently, Del Monte maintains approximately $1 billion in long-term obligations, translating to comparable annual expenditure servicing this indebtedness. During financially struggling periods, including the 2024 fiscal year, profitability would have emerged if not for these perpetual interest burdens. This relentless financial obligation functioned as organizational shackles, limiting strategic investments, preventing operational enhancement, and perpetually diverting resources away from brand-strengthening initiatives. Fundamentally, bankruptcy arose directly from this unmanageable debt architecture rather than operational deficiency alone. Conclusion. Del Monte confronts unprecedented organizational pressure stemming from interconnected factors: temporary supply miscalculation, consumer purchasing behavior evolution, brand positioning challenges, fragmented governance history, and insurmountable financial obligations. Whether this establishment survives requires executing a successful corporate restructuring while repositioning against contemporary market realities. What perspectives do you hold regarding Del Monte's trajectory? Do you maintain loyalty to this heritage brand, or have you transitioned to competing alternatives including Green Giant or Dole? Perhaps you favor contemporary fresh options entirely. Looking forward, does this organization possess sufficient institutional resilience to navigate current tribulations, or has foundational damage proven irreparable? The forthcoming months will prove illuminating. Share your perspectives below.